Welcome to another exciting educational video brought to you by Upvision Concepts Academy. So in today's class, we'll be looking at environmental chemistry, and we'll talk about the chemistry that has to do with the environment. And in this video, we'll look at air pollution, water pollution, greenhouse effects, ozone layer depletion, and many more. So sit tight and enjoy what we are doing. Subscribe to our channel to get more content on chemistry and every other STEM lessons. So we'll dive into the class today. So what is environmental chemistry? Environmental chemistry is the study of chemical processes occurring in the environment that are impacted by human activities. It focuses on the sources of these activities, the reactions, transports, effects, and fates of chemical species in the air and the soil. Okay, so it's a total study of man's effect on the environment. So we'll start with air pollution. Air pollution. First of all, air is a component of the environment. And what is air pollution? Air pollution is the introduction of harmful substances into the atmosphere which can adversely affect living organisms and the environment. Okay, so air is meant to be pure to some degree so that the living things in the on the earth can use it for living. But when you will now introduce harmful substances by way of emission, mostly you emit waste products from factories, from vehicles, from different sources, from burning of some substances, some chemical substances. You know, burning is a chemical process that can liberate some gases, and these gases are introduced into the air, so it can be introduced into the air and also affect the atmosphere, which can adversely affect the things living on the earth. Okay, so we'll move on to major air pollutants and their sources. Major air pollutants and their sources. Where do these air pollutants come from, and what effects do you see? So the first one we have here is carbon monoxide, and carbon monoxide is a pollutant, a gas introduced into the air that can come because there is incomplete combustion of fuel. The fuel does not burn completely. This compound, carbon monoxide, is produced. The effect is that if it's taken in via inhalation, if any organism or animal inhales it, it will reduce oxygen carrying capacity in the blood, and this can lead to death. Most times where you see people who inhale carbon monoxide from generator, from vehicle, constant smoke, you see that this is what happens. Second pollutant here is sulfur dioxide. It is coming from burning of fossil fuels. Fossil fuels could be coal and the rest of you. Smelting iron ore. The cause is causes acid rain. So if this smoke from sulfur dioxide goes into the air, it adds into the water cycle and comes in as rain, but the rain becomes acid rain, which is dangerous to living things. Respiratory problems, that is breathing problems, can come from sulfur dioxide introduced into the air. So we have nitrogen oxides, all kinds of hydrogen oxides, nitrogen oxides, please. It comes from car exhausts, power plants. So it can cause acid rain, smog, respiratory irritation. Then here we have particulate matter. The source could be from soot. Soot is very fine particles from burnt coal. So from soot, from dust, ash, and the effects is lung diseases and visibility problems. Okay, so continuing, we have another pollutant here, hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons, compounds of carbon and hydrogen mixture. The source basically from car exhausts and industrial emissions. So they are carcinogenic and contribute to petrochemical smog. So carcinogenic means cancer causing. A substance that is carcinogenic has the potential to cause cancer in human beings or animals. Many hydrocarbons, especially from vehicle exhaust or industrial emission, contain such substances. Okay, so for example, benzene is a typical hydrocarbon known to be carcinogenic. So petrochemical smog is a type of chemical pollution created when sunlight acts on pollutants like nitrogen oxides. We talked about nitrogen oxides earlier. So when we say carcinogenic contributes to petrochemical smog, we mean that, for instance, some hydrocarbons in the air are cancer causing. Understand? So these same hydrocarbons also react in the presence of sunlight, to help them form photochemical smog. So this is just like a brownish haze that causes breathing problems, eye irritations, and harmful plants. Okay, so the next pollutant here is chlorofluorocarbons. Yes, chlorofluorocarbons. So combination of chlorine and fluorine. Yes. So it comes from refrigerants and aerosols. The effect is that it depletes ozone layer. Ozone layer is that band of atmosphere that protects the Earth from external cosmic influence. Okay, so but when that layer is depleted, you are now exposed to more of these cosmic effects. So having wrapped up with air pollution, we enter into water pollution. Water can also be polluted. So when substances that are not constituents of water, hydrogen and oxygen, is introduced, any foreign substance introduced into water that living thing uses, it becomes a pollution. So water pollution is the contamination of water bodies like rivers, lakes, ocean, groundwater, okay, by harmful substances that makes water unfit for use. So sources of water pollution will include, number one, domestic sewage. Yes, if it's not properly channeled, you will see that it will seep into our water. That's domestic sewage is organic waste, of course, organic waste. So it's supposed to be properly channeled so that it doesn't even touch groundwater. Groundwater is the water in the ground. So some people dig borehole and utilize that. So if sewage is mixing with groundwater, you see that water you are using is not pure. So other sources of water pollution could be industrial waste. So industrial waste will come from our industries. Of course, you know that even as we produce things in the industries, waste is generated. So heavy metals, acids, different wastes, dyes, etc. Different things that comes from byproducts of industries that are not used can enter into our water and contaminate it. Agricultural runoff is another source. Agricultural runoff. Okay, when we talk about this, we are looking at fertilizers. Oh, how do we spell this word? Fertilizers. All right, that's my English. Fertilizers. Okay, what else? We look at pesticides. These are agricultural runoff, things that we use for agriculture. We are supposed to gain from this, but it ends up that it becomes contaminant when it is released to water. Of course, oil spillage. Oil spillage is another thing that can oil spills. The Niger Delta area of Nigeria normally experience things like this, and it's not really good. So water resources like fishes are affected, and even the water that is used for the irrigation is also affected. Detergent and soap is another thing that can contaminate water. Detergents and soap. So these are sources of water pollution. There are other types of water pollutants. We have biological, like bacteria. Yes, bacteria, viruses. Then chemical. You can have nitrates, phosphates, and heavy metals. These are things that can be biologically, that can cause water pollution through biological means. Chemical means. Then physical water pollutants is sediment and heat. So what are the effects of water pollution? So number one effect here is that it causes death. Sure, it causes death. Death of aquatic life due to oxygen depletion. Death of aquatic life, the lives that lives in the water. Aquatic life due to oxygen depletion. So if these substances introduced into the water that are harmful would actually deplete the oxygen, and the aquatic life will be starved of oxygen and they die. So spread of waterborne diseases. Spread of waterborne diseases. This is another effect. Okay, like what is the example? Cholera. Cholera is a type of waterborne disease. Cholera. Okay, and another effect is bioaccumulation of toxins in food chain. Okay, so bioaccumulation. Accumulation of toxins in food chain. Okay, so along the chain production of food, toxins are accumulated because water is involved in producing food or plants. So finally, for my point here, I will say contamination of drinking water, very important. Contamination of drinking water. So the water that we eventually drink is being contaminated. Okay. So we go into the greenhouse effect. What is greenhouse effect? Greenhouse effect is the trapping of heat. You trap heat, you understand, in the Earth atmosphere, okay, by greenhouse gases. Okay, so which allows sunlight in, but prevent heat from escaping. The Earth is supposed to be balanced. Let's say this is the Earth and this is the sun. Of course, the sun is bigger than the Earth, please. So this is the Earth, and there's a blanket of atmosphere around it. There's an ozone layer that actually protects the cosmic effects, the negative cosmic effects from coming into the Earth. maybe like heat. Okay, so but then the earth is producing heat. It's supposed to at least release this heat out into the atmosphere, into the space. But the greenhouse effect is gases. There are gases that are released from this earth that traps that heat and causes, enormous heat in the earth. So what are the major greenhouse gases? Examples of greenhouse gases, examples, okay? These are the gases that can cause trapping. If it can't escape from the earth, it can cause greenhouse. Number one is carbon dioxide. And you agree with me that this is one of the waste products, one of the things that we take out, though somehow it's supposed to be balancing by being used by plants. So carbon dioxide is a gas that can cause greenhouse effect. Methane is a gas that can cause greenhouse effect. This one can be produced industrially from oil companies and the likes. Then nitrous oxide can also cause greenhouse effect. Nitrous oxide is another example. This is nitrous oxide, okay? And the water vapor can cause greenhouse effect. This one is interesting because we always produce water vapor all the time. Then ozone is oxygen, 3 molecules of oxygen. So sources, how do we encounter greenhouse effect? Number one, sources. So number one, how do we get greenhouse effect? When you burning of fossil fuels. Yes, burning of fossil fuels. What are fossil fuels? Fossil fuels come from substances that generate fuel, but are organic in nature, like a coal. So these are fossil fuels. Wood, also fossil fuels. Deforestation too can be the sources. Deforestation means that you are removing vegetations, trees, plants, vegetation that can take in this. This is what they use, plants. So if you keep on clearing, that is why we encourage people to plant maybe flowers, plant trees, plant things around where people stay. If you keep on removing the plants, understand, you will not see, this will not be removed from the earth. Okay, so the earth, the way God created the earth is that it made it to be balanced. There's a balancing. Everything, nature is balanced. So you see, one waste product from an organism is used by another organism as its own source. So there's a balance. Okay, so sometimes if that balance is disrupted, that's where we have issues. Okay, the third source can come from agriculture and livestock. But this one is, well, I would say, like I've made a statement, that the nature has a way of balancing things. So if, for instance, plants dies, or plant withers and dies, it's supposed to be form manure and for use for another plant, or another animal can eat it. You understand? So that's how it's complex, but at the same time, there's a way it balances. But if we now have so much of some things not unused, then a problem can still occur. Okay. So have a look at the major greenhouse gases and their sources. Let's quickly just go through the effects. What can it cause? So effect of greenhouses. What can it cause? Effect of greenhouse. Okay, so number one is global warming. That's what we are championing. We're championing against global warming. That is why we are saying that we use friendly vehicles that does not emit so much gas. Electric vehicle is also a friendly, environmental friendly kind of vehicle. Global warming is effects. So when the earth becomes so hot, it will cause it to extinct even faster. Okay, so melting ice caps and rising sea level. So ice caps melting ice caps. There are some regions of the world that have ice, and there are ices that are built like a form of mountains. Understand? And if the Earth keeps on having increasing temperature, this ice cap will melt. This ice cap will melt. This ice cap actually traps water. So if it melts, the sea level will rise. The sea level. That's why you see sudden surges of water or flooding in some areas. This is because the sea level is rising. Extreme weather conditions can also be an effect from greenhouse. Extreme weather conditions. You see, the weather is getting hotter and hotter. Atmosphere is getting hotter and hotter because of greenhouse effects. Too much heat is released into the environment. Desertification is also another effect of greenhouse effects. Why? Because the plants are not surviving. They're not surviving. So as they're not surviving, the land becomes bare and desertification sets in. So ozone layer depletion is another thing that we'll look at. But before then, let's just define what ozone layer is. So ozone layer is a region of Earth's stratosphere that absorbs most of the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation. So I made mention of cosmic effects. So the sun actually emits some harmful ultraviolet radiation, but the nature, God had a way of making the ozone layer to be there so that the sun's ultraviolet radiation does not penetrate the Earth. So if this ozone layer is depleted, if it is depleted, okay, let me just give a pictorial how it looks like. This is the Earth round, and the sun is somewhere. Sun is bigger than the Earth. Please, for sake of clarity, I'm just trying to make emphasis on the Earth. This sun is very big in terms of size. Okay, so the ozone layer is like a blanket. Okay, let me just do broken lines. Like a blanket. It's like a layer. So there's a thickness of the ozone layer blanketing the Earth. So the sunlight can penetrate, but the UV light is reflected. It does not penetrate. So, but imagine where this ozone layer have holes. So both the sunlight and the UV light. UV is ultraviolet light radiation. They both enter. Okay, so if this ozone layer is depleted, what depletes it? What put hole inside of it? It is this greenhouse effect we talked about. These hot gases, these very hot gases that are not useful for for life on Earth, but are now trapped. So the heat increases and it finds a way of coming out. So it punctures holes on it. So that hole that is being punctured is what we know as ozone layer depletion. And depletion is depletion cost. Let me just put this one here. Depletion cost is caused mainly due to chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs. So you see CFCs. Chlorofluorocarbons are actually released from refrigerators. That's your fridge. Refrigerators. Okay. Aerosols and air conditioners. So these are gases that are inside of these things that are supposed to be properly disposed, but when they are released carelessly into the air, they can cause depletion. Okay, so the effects of ozone layer depletion, what are the effects? Again, I say that it increases UV light or UV radiation penetration. It increases UV radiation from the sun to reach the Earth. Secondly, there is higher risk of skin cancer if ozone layer is depleted and UV light radiation enters. You have higher risk of cancer. You have reduced crop yields. Another effect, reduced crop yields, and harm to marine ecosystem. So water life. there is harm to marine ecosystem. So how do we control air pollution? Number one, we use of cleaner fuels. We use of cleaner fuel to control air pollution. LPG and CNG are cleaner fuels, CNG gases for your motor vehicles. Then we can install scrubbers and filters in industry. So all those industrial wastes does not enter into the environment. Then we can use catalytic converters in cars. That can also control air pollution. Then enforcing environmental regulations can help in reducing air pollution. Then promoting afforestation and renewable energy. Okay, so afforestation is the planting of trees and vegetation on the earth. So it's been encouraged. Just cultivate the habit of planting trees, planting vegetation around. You can even make it aesthetic. Understand? Afforestation has to do with letting the grass, there should be a balance between plant life and animal life. So ensure afforestation happens. Renewable energy has to do with sun energy. Utilize sun energy for cases where you could be using a fuel, always generator fuel or vehicle fuel. We can convert it to solar renewable energy. Okay, so clean, that kind of clean energy. Okay, so that's how we can try to control air pollution. Water pollution control includes proper sewage treatment. Yes, the waste from human waste can be treated before discharge, so that there is no way it seeps into the groundwater. Okay, industrial waste treatment. So waste from industry can also be treated so that it can the waste is not harmful. Reduce of agrochemicals in our farming. Then recycling and safe disposal of toxic substances, creating awareness and enforcing water safety laws. So if we do this, we have reduced water pollution. How about combating greenhouse effect? How do we combat greenhouse effect? Number one thing we do is to reduce carbon emission. If carbon emission is reduced, greenhouse effect will be reduced. Okay. Secondly, we can promote renewable energy like solar and wind. So these are clean energy that can also help to reduce greenhouse effects. Remember, I said greenhouse has to do with some gases that are emitted, and because they can cause heat, they are just around the earth. Normally, they are supposed to be used up. You understand? They're supposed to be used up, but because they cannot escape from they cannot start boring holes on the ozone layer to escape. Okay, so but then most of it will be in the earth causing heat. Okay, so combating greenhouse effects, you have to reduce carbon emissions. Secondly, we have to promote renewable energy like solar and wind. Thirdly, we have to reforestate and afforestate. Okay, so afforestation means planting forest trees in virgin places. Reforestation means when you have removed them before, you have to replant. So ensure that plants are there. That cities, we now have what we call green cities. Cities that exist alongside vegetation. So just put vegetation around. Don't let your city just be bare or your living environment be bare. Let there be plants around, because the plant has a way of sucking in all this carbon dioxide and using it and making the environment to be cool and clean. Okay, so carbon tax or emission trading systems. Now, we protect the ozone layer by banning the use of CFCs. Ban this use of CFCs. Use ozone-friendly refrigerants. Okay, so science is we're researching more to see how we can produce ozone-friendly refrigerants, and international agreements like the Montreal Protocol, should be adhered to. Okay, so where these things are discussed. Okay, so I have some questions for us in the description. Look at the description and the comment section as well to see these questions. These questions are NECO-style questions. Try and engage by way of trying to answer or trying to look at it and like and comment, or put your opinion on it. If this video has been good for you, you can share and subscribe if you're not subscribed. I hope this video has been informative for you. I'd like to thank you for viewing.